Rick Beach, Thurp Behringer, high school game day, GIAA playoffs, quarterfinals. Brookstone taking on Stratford. Central is on the road, and they're taking James Clemens. Pacelli is on the road taking on Bullock. We also got Russell County hosting a playoff game in Northgate. So Alabama's hosting the first round. GIAA's hosting the quarterfinals. But the GHSA, like Harris County and all the Muskogee County schools that could be making the playoffs this year, they have a off week.
Yes.
What do you think is going through the minds of the Harris Counties, the Carvers, the Spencers that are in the playoffs, but they got a bye week, but they don't know who their opponent is yet?
I think for most schools in the area, the Carvers of the world, it's a kind of a break. You get that extra week having this hurricane week, so to say. But for Harris County, I know personally it's a tough break because the last week of the year was a bye, which was odd in itself. But now you have another one. So Harris County hasn't had a football game in 2 weeks, so they'll be going on the road for a playoff game after a 2 week off. It's going to be a tough road to hoe enough going on the road as a 4 seed, but now you haven't had a game in a couple weeks. So for Harris County, it's real tough. But for teams like Carver, I'm sure it's good for them to take this break, get better, get rested up, ready to go, and them make a championship run at Carver. And the other schools in there, I'm sure they like the off week too, but we don't know how long they're going to be in the playoffs. We know where Carver's intentions are.
Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to have the president and head of the Brookstone School, Henry Howell, who will be joining us. Looking forward to having a great conversation with him. Then we'll also end it with the legendary, they call him the voice of the Columbus State Cougars. He is a huge broadcaster in our area. He's someone that myself and anyone that does play-by-play, Rick Beach, we look up to. His name is Scott Miller. He's also the voice of the Brookstone Cougars football team. Looking forward to having him on as the guest picker. You don't get much legendary status than getting Scott Miller helping amplify what should be a fantastic high school game day.
Yeah, you think it's not just the play-by-play. Think about him, the ceremony for the Clingstones, and they opened Golden Park and did that little ceremony. It was Scotty Miller was the host of that whole situation. So he's, for Columbus, he's everything for us, especially in the play-by-play world.
Yeah, so can't wait to be able to talk to him here in just a little bit. Let's kind of preview some of the games, again, that we are seeing around the area. We expect Glenwood to take care of business against a really good, not really good, but an okay Alabama Christian Academy team. They're the 4th seed, Rick. You know that, for Glenwood, you just want to see them take care of business and continue moving forward in the playoffs. They're ranked 7th in Alabama Sports Writer poll. You think that's motivation for a team like Glenwood? Because I do.
It's a lot of motivation for Glenwood, but at the same time, in the writer's defense, it shows that they're not buying the first year coming into public schools. It's still Glenwood. They're still getting the disrespect, thinking that they're just a little old private school coming in there. But obviously the writers ain't looked at the scorebooks because them scores have been, big numbers but little numbers next to them.
Exactly right. And then the game here tonight, Brookstone and Stratford. When talking with Coach Gillespie, it's hard beating a team once, let alone twice. And those teams 1 through 6 really are, I think, interchangeable, man. Every single one of those teams play tough schedules this year. Every single one of those teams have great wins. Brookstone got a really good win against Tatnall. Pacelli beat FPD. Stratford beat Pacelli. Brookstone also beat Stratford. Those top 6 teams, I think, are kind of vying for who can win a championship here in 4A. When you hear a team have to beat a team twice, like Brookstone's going to have to do on this same field, how tough a task do you think that is for Coach Gillespie's team?
Well, like he said, you got to balance it out where you got to do counters with what you ran success you had. But you try not to reinvent the wheel. You won for a reason. What you did, won the game. So you can't go out there and change your whole game plan. But, you still got to have plays that you had success. You got to spend something on. If it was a successful run, you got to implement a play action to it. If you have some good passing plays, you got to run a draw or something like that to it. So that's the chess match I was asking Coach Gillespie about. It's the chess match that he's been playing all week with his offensive staff.
And we're talking about someone like Coach Gillespie in his 3rd year. For those who don't know, who maybe don't know who Rance Gillespie is, other than he's a Brookstone coach. This guy was an offensive coordinator at the Division I level at Georgia Southern. He won state championships at Peach County. He is the elite of the elite. And then he came into this Brookstone job in his first year, lost in overtime to Pacelli in the semifinals. 2nd year, took him to the championship. And now the 3rd year, what's next on the plate, man? If you go semifinal first year, state runner-up second year, the only other option going up is what?
Is finishing it.
Yeah, and that's what we hope to see from the Brookstone Cougars. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the head of the Brookstone School, Henry Howell, here on High School Game Day, Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
We're hammering down high prices at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. New full-size GMC Sierras discounted up to $12,500 off. GMC Terrains with a roomy cabin and pro safety discounted $6,500 off. Enjoy your holidays with no payments until February. Choose from over 500 new and used on the lot or on the way. GlennSmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Hey, grab me one too.
My name is Quinteria Perry, and this is my CVCC story. I've graduated from CVCC with my associates in medical assistant, and I received my certification from CVCC. The training that I got from CVC and being prepared to come and do clinicals helped tremendously. I started looking at scholarships, and the Ambassador Scholarship was interesting to me because you did an event to earn your scholarship and you meet people. I would recommend CVCC to anyone that asks because of the scholarships, the teachers, the small stuff that you can't get at a university.
Welcome back to High School Game Day live from the beautiful Max Strong Stadium. This is how you know the weather doesn't feel like fall weather and playoff weather, but at least it's getting dark outside and we already have the nice bright lights. I am with the head of school, Henry Howell, joining us here on High School Game Day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for being here. I mean, you know, we are. I feel like sometimes we are a little bit of a hidden gem in Columbus, and I'm really thrilled to get this exposure and to have you all here visiting us, and I'm saying such nice things. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt. This is one of the top schools, obviously, not just in our area, but in the state. But let's talk about your background, okay? For those who don't know who Henry Howell is and how long you've been here, I know this is year 2. We'll talk about what makes Brookstone special, but let's get a little bit in your background. What led you to coming to Brookstone? So the floor is yours. Instead of me asking a million questions, you just tell your story.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Well, you know, I came here from Dallas, Texas, and my family and I are from the East Coast. We spent the last 6 years in Dallas at a great school there that we loved dearly. But when this opportunity came knocking, and I had never heard of Brookstone. I had heard of Brookstone, but never really thought much about it. I heard of Columbus, Georgia, very much, and so I get here, and I'm like, what is this? I mean, this is amazing. This place is unbelievable, and not just the school, but also the city. It's really been an absolute gold mine for my family and I. And so we're thrilled to be here. The people here are amazing. We have found great friends. Our kids are thriving, living their best lives, and we're just, you know, to be a part of such an unbelievable community has been incredibly meaningful for me.
And taking over a school as prestigious as Brookstone, as you've learned, and a lot of things that this school has accomplished, did you feel like it was going to be a tough challenge? Did you embrace the challenge? What was your mindset when you finally realized what this school was, especially in this area? Did it feel too daunting, or you were excited to take on this Brookstone?
So I'm a former college athlete and a college coach and high school coach.
Oh, awesome.
And so for me, challenge is really opportunity.
Right.
And so, you know, I embrace that. And so I think being the lead of any sort of institution, any sort of organization, you hope is going to be challenging. You hope it's going to provide you opportunities to lead in a way that's beneficial to the people and to the community. And so for me, that, you know, whether or not I thought it was good, I didn't really know what I was going to find here, but what I found was a really well-oiled machine. And not that I'm a museum caretaker, but
right.
really this school doesn't need much from me, and you know, except for just some nudges here and there. And so I'm thrilled to be a part of it. Thrilled to be a part of this community.
Who were some of the people that kind of helped you understand Brookstone? Who were some of the first people you met who really want to take on this job?
Yeah, well, you mentioned my podcast. So Jason Branch, who was the search committee chair, he and I went to college together.
Oh, awesome!
And so when I saw his name in that role as the search committee chair, I knew this is a place I wanted to be a part of. So he was a huge influence on me. When I got here and toured around the entire search committee, there's so many connections, not just to me personally, but also to the world that I'm familiar with, the independent school world, that I was very confident that I was walking into a place where there is tremendous leadership, tremendous resources, and an absolute, almost unwavering love for a place. And so that's pretty comforting for a school to walk into.
Rance Gillespie, the athletic director. I mean, this guy, you see the pedigree, you know about where he's been, all the winning that he has done. What is it like having someone that's in charge of athletics? That's a front door to many people, not only here at Brookstone, but to the college ranks too. What does it mean to have him under your belt too?
You know, Rance's reputation precedes him, and that can be a positive and a negative. And so I didn't know what to expect before I met Rance. Rance has proven to be a very adept and skillful athletic director. I think people see what he does on the field here, and they give him a ton of credit for the ability he has as a football coach. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does for our athletics in general. I found him to be one of the best athletic directors I've ever worked with, and I've worked with some really good ones in my past. So I'm thrilled to have him leading our department. He's made great hires. He's made some adjustments in the way in which we approach athletics, particularly at the middle school level, that are going to pay huge dividends for us as we move forward. So we're thrilled to have him, and tonight we're thrilled to have him on the sideline.
Exactly, and that fine line, man, between making sure athletics gets their resources, but this is not just an athletic school; it's an academic school too. So how do you balance that to make sure that why this school is so special on both aspects?
So I may have slightly different approach to that. We want to create well-rounded kids,
right,
first and foremost. But what people, I think, don't necessarily understand is what an important role athletics play in enhancing learning. Our athletes are some of our best students because physical activity, what it unlocks in the mind and the intellect, is incredibly important. And in our arts program, using a different side of your brain,
right,
is incredibly important to enhancing learning in all aspects too. So we really value everything we do here. Every single thing we do is in service to our kids' learning, and that means tonight's football game is maybe not what people think about helping us in the classroom, but you would be amazed at what these kids are doing in the classroom because of their commitment to something and because of the way in which they dedicate their afternoons and their weekends to really becoming their best selves. It spills over in the classroom in a really positive way.
I like, when the floor being yours, to talk to the community out there, for those who don't know what it means to be a part of the Brookstone family. What makes Brookstone special? Why this should be a school that you maybe want to send your daughter or son to in the future?
Well, I'll say this. Thank you for that opportunity. I'll say this, and my decision to come here was really based on what I saw from my own children. I have an 8th grade daughter, a 6th grade daughter, and a 3rd grade son, and I envisioned them thriving in this environment, an environment that is that engenders trust, where every adult on this campus is committed to their success, and we all care deeply for each other, and that kind of culture is one in which kids can be their best selves, and for me that's really what education's all about. And the grades we get, the colleges we go to, yes, those are a metric, but at the end of the day, when these kids remember their high school and their really K through 12 experience,
right,
they want to remember how people made them feel. And here at Brookstone, kids leave here feeling loved and cared for, and there's not much more you can ask for than that as a parent. And so I encourage those who don't know much about us to please give us a look, and I think you'll find when you walk on this campus, it feels it feels right. It feels like a place you want to be a part of, and it was for me and my family, and I hope it'll be for you as well.
His name is Henry Howell. He's doing an excellent job being in charge here at Brookstone. Final question. What's happening tonight on Max Strong Field? Are we the Cougars heading to the semifinals?
I tell you, it is hard. It is really hard to beat a team twice in a season. It's really hard. And I know that Coach Gillespie's anxious about this. But if I know our kids, they are going to fight. They're going to fight hard, and I believe that at the end of the day, that fight and that commitment to what this success is going to be a positive result in the school.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And quick plug, your podcast. How can people tune in? I love it when you're interviewing people from around the school, athletes, students. You even interviewed the search committee chairman. So talk about where they can find that.
Yeah, please, Be the One podcast. You can find it on our website, on our social media, and on YouTube. I'd love for you to check it out and see what we're doing here. There's some really good insights. We're interviewing some students. Actually, I'm interviewing some students on Monday who are involved in our theater program.
Awesome.
And, which is just top rate. So please check it out. Thanks for the plug.
No doubt about it. It's high school game day. We'll be right back after this.
We're hammering down high prices at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. New full-size GMC Sierras discounted up to $12,500 off. GMC Terrains with a roomy cabin and pro safety discounted $6,500 off. Enjoy your holidays with no payments until February. Choose from over 500 new and used on the lot or on the way. GlennSmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Hey, grab me one too.
My name is Quinteria Perry, and this is my CVCC story. I've graduated from CVCC with my associates in medical assistant, and I received my certification from CVCC. The training that I got from CVC and being prepared to come and do clinicals helped tremendously. I started looking at scholarships, and the ambassador scholarship was interesting to me because you did events to earn your scholarship and you meet people. I would recommend CVCC to anyone that asks because of the scholarships, the teachers, the small stuff that you can't get at a university.
We're hammering down high prices at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. New full-size GMC Sierras discounted up to $12,500 off. GMC Terrains with a roomy cabin and pro safety discounted $6,500 off. Enjoy your holidays with no payments until February. Choose from over 500 new and used on the lot or on the way. GlennSmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Hey, grab.
We're back here, high school game day, live from Max Strong Stadium. Thrift Behringer, Rick Beach, and the voice of Columbus State Cougars and the Brookstone Cougars. There's something about the Cougars that gets this man fired up. He is legendary voice and broadcaster, someone I look up to very dearly. Scott Miller, thank you so much for joining us, Scott.
It is my pleasure. We're throwing the word legendary around a little loosely, but I am thrilled to be. I'm always thrilled to be sitting in Max Strong Stadium. I love this place. I love this school. But especially thrilling to be sitting with you guys tonight.
Before we get into the games, and that's one of the main reasons we have you on, I got to get some background stuff. Why do you love calling games? Why has play-by-play been something that you are so good at, that you love? It seems like you love going to work, whether it be at Columbus State, here at Brookstone. What makes this job so special to you and why you love it?
You know, I've always loved, and most of my career has been radio, but now it's morphed into television, video as well.
Right.
But with radio especially, I always felt like I am the eyes of the listener.
Right.
So I love enjoying painting a picture, but these guys out on the field have to give me a great picture to paint.
Right.
And they do, and I just love it. I mean, I've just completed my 48th season at Columbus State.
Wow.
Don't look at me like that. I started when I was 7. For those of you who want to do the math out there.
I love it, Scott. And someone that is near and dear to your heart, and someone that my granddad loved and I looked up to, and he gave me actually an opportunity. One of my first real breaks in broadcasting was being a PA announcer for the Columbus Sports Council and Herbert Green. Talk about someone like him. It's funny, and the reason I'm bringing him up because I was just having a conversation with Corey Black about this guy has touched so many instrumental people in our area's lives and just really changed the sports landscape here in Columbus.
He's one of a kind. He was my best friend. It was a shocking moment when we lost him way too early, but we had such a great relationship. We were roommates on the road for all of the basketball trips, sat behind him on the bus. He started out as an acquaintance, then as like a co-worker, and then became a friend, and eventually we were brothers. And that's the kind of guy he was.
Right.
He did not meet a stranger. He knew we couldn't go out to eat and not anywhere. It didn't matter if it was in Columbus or in Auburn or in Montgomery.
Right.
Somebody always came up to him and talked to him. So he was great.
That's awesome. Rick?
Yeah, now, coming over from CSU, then you started here at Brookstone. You mentioned doing radio for years and years, and now, worldwide, you have to switch from radio. The first it was TV, now streaming is,
Right.
That's the big thing. Do you still try to integrate your radio, painting the picture, you say, when you're calling it, even though it's being on video, but you're still trying to reach out to the listeners and paint the picture for them?
I do, really. I really treat it as a radio broadcast because, on the streaming level, we don't have all of the cameras
Right.
where the picture is right
Right.
there. So it's really an enhanced radio version of play-by-play. So I treat it like radio play-by-play, and the fans are fortunate enough to be able to see some pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I love being able to hear you and growing up, listening to all those Columbus State broadcasts, even Columbus State making it to the World Series, maybe I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. My friend Carson Bowers was one of the coaches on that
2018
team. Yep, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Look, I'm not getting anything past.
Shows the age group
the
between me and
history.
Thrift, because my buddy's Chris Gilstrap, who was on the
2002 National Championship team.
So
and old Patterson Field in Montgomery.
Oh, unbelievable. And by the way, that's where Glenwood won their state championship. I didn't even know that's where they had the national championship.
That's right.
Wow.
And CSU lost their first game. They had to come back and win 5 straight games. They did 2 extra inning games, 3 last at bats. Hank Williams Sr. is buried in the cemetery beyond the left field fence. And at one point when we won one of those games, I said, Hank Williams is still dead, but the Cougars are not.
That's why we love him. We're here with Scott Miller live from Max Strong Stadium. GIAA quarterfinals. It's Brookstone and Stratford. I'm going to ask you about Brookstone and Stratford. We'll do, we'll save that game for last because we got something special for that. Let's talk about the games that are happening tonight. We'll first start with Central.
All right.
This is a team, and Scott, it's one of the top powers in our area. Won a state championship last year. They're not going to be able to host a playoff game, probably their entire playoff run this year. Does that matter to you? And as they take on James Clemens on the road.
Well, look, James Clemens won enough to get a home playoff game, and they were going, we got a home playoff game. And then they look at the bracket and go, oh, we've got the defending state champions who are really rocking and rolling, so yay us. We've got a couple of friends from Brookstone are on that Central team.
Yes,
Big part of it.
Yep.
So I love the Red Devils, going with the Red Devils.
Yeah, I'm going Red Devils too. Rick, are you picking the upset?
No, absolutely
You're not
with
crazy
that.
enough to do that.
There's no region in Alabama that's as strong as where Central come from. That's the only reason Central's a 3 is because of the region that they come from.
All right, Pacelli and Bullock. All right, so here's the thing. Let me set this up and paint the picture, as you like to say, Scott. If Pacelli wins and Brookstone wins, guess what? They're going to be right here on this field for a semifinal. They take on a team that Brookstone beat last year to make it to the state championship. If you look at Bullock's record and strength of schedule compared to Pacelli's, it's not even close, but they are undefeated. Where do you go on Pacelli and Bullock?
Bullock is undefeated. Pacelli is not quite as good as they were last year, but they're still really good, as we saw a few weeks ago over there. The game went right to the wire, but what else is new with Brookstone and Pacelli?
Right.
And you know what? on paper, it should be Bullock, but I've got a feeling that Pacelli is going to win, and I don't want to give away the last pick, but Pacelli is going to win and set up something pretty special.
Yeah. Where you going?
I think Coach Jones has something built over there at Pacelli, and just the physicality that he can bring with the in the GIAA is something special that could be going on next week.
Now, I will say this too. I believe that the state champion is coming from this bracket.
Yeah.
State champion is coming from this bracket. I believe that.
Yeah, completely. I'm going to agree with you on that, Scott. And same thing. When talking with Coach Jones earlier this week, he is very confident in his team. Now, he's overcome a lot of injuries on his third-string quarterback, but I feel like it's going to be one of those ugly games, weather, and it's going to have a huge I think, factor for a road team like Pacelli to come in and get a win. Low-scoring game. I feel like that's what's going to happen. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's talk about the Glenwood Gators. Undefeated in their first year in the public school. No one expected that. I didn't either. Scott, where are you going? Glenwood hosts against Alabama Christian.
You know, I'm not a very smart man, but I know not to mess with a hungry gator. And the Gators are hungry, they're rolling, and they're going to have a huge victory.
Yeah, you don't have to watch much Glenwood tape to see how their first round matchup is going to go, because they've just been mashing people the last month or so of the season. And so I don't expect tonight to be any different.
Yeah, it's going to be a blowout, and the Gators don't get a lot of respect in the Alabama Sports Writer poll either. They came in number 7 as an undefeated team. They got some 2-loss teams ahead of them. We'll see if they can prove everyone wrong like they've done all season long. Another team that's proved everyone wrong is Russell County. 8-2 this year. Their quarterback, oh my gosh, Bryson Riggins, 35 touchdown passes on the season. They're 8-2. They're hosting a playoff game for the first time since 1998. Where you going with the Warriors? Are they going to get their first playoff win in 20 years?
The Warriors have a chip on their shoulder. They have a great quarterback.
Yep.
They're going to win tonight.
I'm going Warriors too. What about you?
Hey, playoffs all about quarterback play, and I don't think there's any quarterback hotter on either side of the river than what Russell County got going on.
I'm going to put these two together. We did have them on our list. I said I was going to boot them, but I'll just put them there together quickly. Opelika hosts Florence. Auburn hosts Bob Jones. I'm taking the local teams. Give me Auburn and Opelika. What do you got, Scott?
All right, Bob Jones is playing Auburn. Bob Jones could bring his entire family to Auburn and still not be able to beat Auburn. Some people say that Auburn High School is the best football team in the city of Auburn. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
I'm with you.
Some people would say
But
that.
I wouldn't argue it.
Sorry, Beth. Auburn High will win tonight. Opelika, you know, I'm a as probably you just discovered, I'm a Georgia fan, so can't pull against the Bulldogs, but Opelika's really, really good as well, obviously, in that great region, so they're going to win.
Yeah, I'd rather the same 2 picks.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think the Keith Etheridge-led Auburn Tigers would give the other Auburn Tigers a run for their money. All right, the game that everybody wants us to talk about. I'm going to let you kind of preview the game, and then me and Rick will pick, and then you'll do your pick. But talk about, you've covered this team all year long. You've seen the progression from Brookstone. It's hard to beat a team twice. Talk about the Cougars, what you've seen from them this year.
Brookstone started out as a team that won games defensively.
Right.
Had a young offense, young quarterback. You know, it's the system that Coach Gillespie runs is tremendous, but it's very complicated. So they knew they were going to have to rely on the defense to get the season underway, and that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
And then you could see this sophomore quarterback, Broughton Branch, begin to get better and better. I'd go to a lot of practices, and you could see him at the beginning. It was like overload,
right?
But you could see him as the weeks went by. He got more confident. His physical talent, there was no question. But now he has a grasp of this, and he knows what to do. Now, tonight, first of all, Brookstone's got a lot of offensive weapons.
Yes,
all right? A lot of offensive weapons. Running backs, wide receivers, great offensive scheme. Tonight, I think the defense, the key is we've got to, Stratford wants to play in space.
Yep.
They've got a great wide receiver, a great running back / wide receiver, and a great running quarterback who can also throw the ball. those three guys were the difference that kept the game close in the regular season, and Brookstone pulled out in overtime. So we gotta try to make those guys play a little tighter, not in space. When they get past the first line, we got to have the linebackers, we got to have the secondary, be able to stop them, stop the long play, stay away from that. I think offensively, we're going to be fine. And I think we'll be better. Again, we remember, it was September 20th when we played those guys.
Almost 2 months ago.
And Broughton Branch was a different quarterback then. And this team offensively has gotten better. There have been hiccups along the way. Are they still clicking all the time offensively? No, they're not, but they're dangerous. And I have a feeling that tonight the danger is going to really flow out of the offense.
I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. And if you see Broughton Branch be put in positions to be successful, and he manages the game like he has been, I think that Brookstone Cougars are going to win this, and I honestly think they're going to win this maybe a little bit easier than they did last time. Remember, it went all the way down the wire. You had a fantastic call last time these two teams faced off. Rick Beach, where are you going?
I think you got to take Brookstone. You look at Coach Gillespie, just the resume he has, the offensive staff, the amount of respect that I have for him as the best offensive coach in the area, and that's including the public schools around. And coming from the South Georgia, then you get into the college ranks and how many quarterbacks that he could just mold them and having a whole season. Sophomore, you're not a sophomore now. You've played a whole season now, so he's got it going on. I think this offense can be clicking. Like you said, on defense, got to put them in a phone booth. Got to keep the game close, play the line of scrimmage, score enough points on offense, they'll get the win tonight.
One other thing, too. There is no better special teams in the entire state, I don't care what level, that Brookstone has with Jimmy Hunter and Sam Grubb. That will always be a difference in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
When you can kick a 50-yard game-winning field goal in high school, that makes you pretty special. There's not a lot of those out there,
walk-off 51-yard
too.
field goal.
Come on, man.
I mean, come on.
Scott, who you picking? Let me see it.
All right, well, I said some glowing things about the Cougars tonight. But, this is the playoffs.
Right.
Anything could happen.
And beating a team twice as hard.
Beating a team twice as hard. Stratford's going to come here with a chip on their shoulder. They think they should have won the regular season game. I guarantee you they think they should have won. And had they not, earlier in that game, had they not decided to go for a 2-point conversion instead of one, they win by a point in regulation.
There we go.
But so that shows you. So I'm just, I know people are going to hate this, but I'm just going to have to go with the Cougars!
That's why I love
Cougars!
Them. All right, we got Lee Corso on here, man. It's high school game day. Thank you to Henry Howell, Scott Miller, and also thank you to Rance Gillespie. We'll see you in a little bit here from Mike Strong Stadium. Georgia Alabama Sports Live. See you next time.